Hello and welcome to the first Azure for Operators event. My name is Nikhil Ravi and I'm a product manager with the Azure Edge Zones team. I'm extremely excited to join you today with this opportunity to talk about everything that's happening in the world of edge computing and 5G in Azure. In this session, I'll talk about the work we are doing with our customers and partners to enrich their app development experience in private edge zones. By the end of this session, I'm hoping to provide you with a better understanding of the private edge zone ecosystem, all the edge platform features that are optimized for app deployment, and the tools and solutions Microsoft provides to simplify the development, deployment, and management of an application. But before we get started, I'd like to talk about our motivation for being here today. In Azure, we view ourselves as the world's computer. And while this implies a scalable infrastructure offered at a low cost to customers, it's also about meeting customers where they need help, whether it's in the cloud or the edge. It's about allowing our developers and partners to reinvent their business and doing all of this in a secure and compliant manner. With our recent acquisitions of Affirmed and Metaswitch, we believe we understand the needs of telcos. Our ability to augment this with a rich set of tools and ISV partners can support your journey to uncover new business opportunities. So let's start with the basic question around the need to compute at the edge. With the advent of 5G and the proliferation of IoT, we are seeing cutting-edge applications opening up a whole new set of scenarios. Think of the stocking and retrieval process in a warehouse controlled entirely by robots gliding along rails in all three dimensions. Or think of a worker being able to diagnose the issue in the propeller of an aircraft by using an app to facilitate the real-time rendering of images in the mixed reality device. There are many such scenarios emerging across a variety of industries, and all these scenarios require reliable, ultra-low latency communication, something that can only be possible with edge compute and 5G. Now, as you think about applications running at the edge, there are three broad patterns that are being used increasingly. The first pattern is where the application processes data at the edge in real time. Think of a drone sending footage of a street and making a real-time decision on where it needs to travel next. The second pattern is where the application does some pre-processing at the edge and sends a subset of the data it has collected to the cloud to further improve the ML model. Think of a traffic camera that's trained to detect a collision. When it believes a collision has been detected, it captures a video for a minute and sends that data to the cloud. This can now be further analyzed in the cloud to improve the model and redeploy it to the edge. The third pattern is where we need edge processing to remove all personally identifiable information before uploading data to the cloud. Now let's look at how one of our ISV partners is using edge computing to deliver innovative solutions to their customers. RXR is the third largest real estate owner in New York with over 25 million square feet of space in the tri-state area. When the COVID-19 pandemic hit, the company needed a way to help tenants stay safe after its buildings reopened for business. They developed a solution named RxWell, a public health-based data-driven solution that merges physical and digital assets to keep employees informed, safe, and supported during the pandemic. Powered by the Internet of Things and the intelligent edge, RxWell combines real-time computer vision, sensors, AI, mobile apps, dashboards, and in-person offerings to deliver a comprehensive solution. Now, I'll let Scott and Tara walk you through the RXR solution in this pre-recorded video.
Okay, I recognize this. This is 75 Rockefeller Plaza. Is this
Yes, it
RXR
is.
property?
You know, RXR is actually one of New York's largest property owners. They have 25 million square feet. That's with a big M. And that includes some of the most iconic addresses. Obviously, this one too.
Buildings already have security cameras and sensors and stuff. Where does Azure and IoT fit into that existing hardware?
Well, you know, for me, anything that has electricity is an IoT device. But of course, every device is not connected. And in those instances, you got to get a gateway. And buildings have cameras, motion detectors, all that. But once I can get them connected to the cloud, we can make your building smarter. And we can take advantage of all this great Azure cloud services. Like, of course, IoT, but app service, Stack Edge, functions, spatial analysis, static web apps even.
Hey, we're in the lobby.
Yeah, do you check out those cool thermal cameras? You know, they can measure your body temperature, Scott. Let's see if you're actually good to go.
Oh, man's not hot. Never hot. I'm cleared.
Oh, well, that's cool. What, you know what? We should probably keep the proper distance apart too.
Okay, so the cameras are analyzing for social distancing.
Oh, but think about it. We can detect whatever we want, right? Azure enables these cameras to detect in real time incoming and outgoing traffic, as well as detect if people are violating social distance guidelines. Of course, it's all using pre-trained computer vision models.
Now that we have discussed the benefits of edge computing, let's go back to our goals for this session. We'll start with the first goal of helping you understand the role of telcos in the private edge zone ecosystem. Let me start by introducing to the Azure Edge Zone family. These are a set of edge platforms we have built to support the needs of our customers and developers. Depending on the latency and scalability requirements of an application, customers could choose between Azure Edge Zones with carrier, and private edge zones. While edge zones and edge zones with carrier are both multi-tenant infrastructure, private edge zones is a single-tenant offering. All of these platforms will provide the consistent Azure experience that you're used to, while giving developers access to all the great Azure tools and services at the edge. If you're a developer, you could continue using Git repositories to house your code. You could package them in Docker containers and deploy them to a fully managed Kubernetes cluster. You build once and have the option of deploying them in multiple locations with no additional effort. For today's session, we'll focus exclusively on private edge zones. This is a single tenant platform that's deployed on a customer's premises, allowing them to deploy applications and virtual network functions through the cloud. Imagine being able to use the Azure experience to deploy a 5G network on the Edge platform and running the RxR solution on the same appliance. With the application and the 5G network running one hop away from each other, that's when you begin to see the true power of ultra-low latency edge applications. I'm now going to zoom into the private edge zone ecosystem and talk about how we are building our service through partnerships. Partners are really key to our offering, and we strongly believe that opening up options to customers will be crucial for market adoption. We are building an ecosystem of virtual network function partners and application partners to provide our customers with a one-stop shop to complete their scenario. These partnerships include a deep technical integration that will allow customers to have a consistent experience with deploying these solutions on Azure and on the edge. We are also making it easier for telcos to assume the role of a managed service provider that can build on the offerings from the VNF and the app partners to put together a package that can further simplify the experience for customers. The Azure MSP model is quite simple. It starts with the MSP partner defining what they want to offer and creating an offering out of it. MSP partners have full autonomy over what they offer and how much they charge for it. Once the customer purchases the offering, the MSP partner can access the required customer resources and provide a fully managed offering. Going back to our goals for the session, let's look under the hood and understand all the great features that the platform offers. Azure Private Edge Zones is powered by the Azure Stack Edge GPU Pro SKU. This is a one-use server with 20 cores of CPU, SRIOV-enabled ports, and 1 or 2 GPUs for customers to leverage. GPUs are a popular choice for AI computations as they offer parallel processing capabilities and are much faster at image rendering than central processing units. You can use the hardware acceleration capabilities and GPU inferencing to run sophisticated ML models at the edge. Additionally, the hardware and software is fully managed by Azure, allowing customers to focus on building apps and solutions. Azure Stack Edge provides multiple compute options to customers and developers. If you have an IoT scenario and are already using IoT Hub and IoT Central, you can use the IoT Edge runtime on the appliance to run containers and have them integrate with IoT Hub. If, on the other hand, you need to pull containers from your private repo to deploy your application, you can leverage a fully managed Kubernetes cluster provided in the appliance. And finally, if you have an application that's VM-based, you can either run Windows or Linux VMs on the appliance. You can also run containerized edge versions of a number of Azure services on the platform. You can use cognitive services, for instance, to see, hear, understand, and accelerate decision-making into your apps. Or you could use Azure ML to build, train, and deploy ML models. Azure Stream Analytics is a serverless real-time analytics service designed for mission-critical workloads And Azure Functions allows for event-driven serverless compute and orchestration. Or if you want, you could simply deploy your third-party software in a Linux container. Talking about deploying Linux containers, this is possible only because the platform supports a fully managed Kubernetes cluster. For folks that are familiar with Kubernetes and microservices, you know that managing a cluster is no joke. You need to take care of version upgrades, manage the security policies, and ensure you're constantly on the latest version to avail all the features that Kubernetes has to offer. With a managed cluster, all of this is done by the platform. You can also deploy containerized applications of your choice through a few different models. You can use a native tool like kubectl, or you could use the newly launched Arc-enabled Kubernetes to manage all of your clusters and deploy applications through a cloud interface. And we'll get into this in a little bit more detail in just a second. But to recap, you have a platform that's built on a 1U server with hardware acceleration to allow you to run apps and virtual network functions side by side. The platform allows you to run containers and VMs, as well as a number of Azure services to provide you all the features you need to build your app. In this last section, we'll talk about the tools and services that are available to deploy and manage applications on the edge. So let's pick up where we left off at the end of the previous section. We spoke about how customers could leverage Arc-enabled Kubernetes to manage a Kubernetes cluster on the Azure Stack Edge. Let's take a closer look at what this means and what Arc-enabled Kubernetes really does. Imagine a scenario where an ISV has housed their retail application in a private repository, and a retailer wants to deploy the solution in over 100 stores across the country. They want to have a single pane to monitor and manage the health of their clusters across the country, and they want to be able to seamlessly deploy the application to all these clusters with minimal effort. Well, that's exactly what Arc-enabled Kubernetes allows you to do. You can inventory all your clusters across clouds and on-premises servers. You can use GitOps to configure and deploy an app from a single source to many clusters. And you can apply the same security policies across multiple clusters. Let me show you how you could enable Kubernetes on private edge zones and have it show up as one of the many clusters you can manage through Arc. Let's start with an Azure Stack Edge appliance that's been racked and stacked and registered with the cloud service. We log into the local user interface of the appliance here. One of the very first things you'll need to do is configure the network interfaces for the appliance. In the interest of time, I'm showing you an appliance with the settings already configured. The next step is to enable compute on one of these ports. We have done this on port 3, and I'd recommend you pick between ports 3, 4, 5, and 6 for this. You'll need to provide Kubernetes node IPs and IPs for the Kubernetes external service based on the number of applications you plan to deploy. We'll follow this up by logging into Azure to configure the compute role. To do this, click on the Edge Compute section of the Azure Stack Edge resource. You'll have the option of either using an existing IoT hub or creating a new one. Here, you can see the output once the process finishes. This step effectively creates an IoT edge device for the compute role. At this point, you configure your platform to run Kubernetes and deploy containers. You can now manage your cluster and deploy containers through the IoT role through kubectl or through Arc. In this case, we went ahead and added the cluster in Arc-enabled Kubernetes by running an Arc agent on the Edge platform. You could also add a repository to your Arc resource and use it to deploy containers to your Edge platform. Once a solution has been deployed to the Edge, developers and ISVs need a mechanism to manage their solution. This is where Azure Managed Apps comes in. A developer or an ISV could publish a managed app for their offering, and customers that seek to use their service could give access to the ISV to deploy and manage resources on their behalf. The ISV has full flexibility in defining the manner in which the offering is presented and the service they offer and the price they set. This managed app could be offered through the Azure Marketplace to be used by any Azure customer, or it could be restricted to customers that are part of the same Active Directory tenant by listing it as part of a service catalog managed app. Let's take a look at how one of our partners has leveraged some of these platform features and services to deploy and manage their app on the edge. Everseen is a global provider of real-time behavioral intelligence solutions. They leverage a proprietary AI platform to digitize unstructured human data and map processes. Their solution can be used at a retail checkout station to prevent fraud, or it could be used at the back of a store to ensure compliance with the process. They have deployed the solution across 3,000 retail stores across the United States and are tracking 160 million SKUs on a daily basis. Now I'm going to pass it on to Norbert from the Everseen team to talk about their solution and see it in action.
Hi, my name is Norbert. I'm an engineer at Everseen, and we are here today in Everseen's Immersion Lab, where we've optimized our Scenic AI solution to run on-premises using Private Edge Zones platform and the Azure Stack Edge infrastructure. Here is a video of the ASC devices currently sitting in the server room. I would also like to mention that we have a private wireless network running one hop away from this application, and both components are deployed and supported using Azure Stack Edge technology.
I'd now like to show you a simulated demo of the Scenic AI solution in action in a retail self-checkout scenario, and we will focus on two use cases, non-scan and product switching. What's happening here is that the camera above the point-of-sale terminal sent a video of the action to the Scenic AI app running on the Azure Stack Edge, and the application detects a pattern of a customer trying to scan, but realizes that no scan has taken place. It sends an alert to the scope. The system shows a replay of the non-scan, thereby mitigating what could be a contentious situation. Let's look at the second scenario of a product switch. This is a scenario where a customer decides to place the barcode of a less expensive product in front of a more expensive product while scanning. Just like in the previous scenario, the Scenic AI solution detects that the product scanned was not the more expensive SKU through the camera feed and alerts the co-host associate to intervene. The system shows a replay of the product switch, helping the co-host in mitigating what could otherwise be a contentious situation. This pattern recognition technology can be extended in many other scenarios, and we're excited about the possibilities ahead of us.
Thanks, Norbert. Let's look at how Everseen has leveraged many of the Edge platform features and Azure solutions we discussed in the session. Their cameras are connected via a private cellular solution powered by a Microsoft Packet Core deployed through the Azure Private Edge Zones platform. Their application uses the GPUs on the box for video inferencing. They also leverage the fully managed Kubernetes cluster on the Azure Stack Edge to deploy their containerized solution. Everseen leverages Azure IoT Central as a single pane of glass to deploy, monitor, and manage the IoT Edge workloads, and the IoT Edge runtime on the ASC to host their AI ML workloads to process and aggregate large amounts of data. Everseen has published their solution on the Azure Marketplace for customers to readily leverage and use for their own solutions. Now, there are many pieces to the puzzle for a customer looking to install a fully integrated solution at their premises. They'll need to decide on the hardware components, the software vendors, their overall solution architecture, while also arranging for the installation and operations of the setup. This is hard work, and it creates a distraction from focusing on their core business problems. Here's where telcos can help. By leveraging the ecosystem and services available through Azure, and then combining it with all the distinct value that only you can bring to the table, you can create a fully managed end-to-end industry offering that can be tremendously valuable to customers. Well, this brings us to the end of our session. I really enjoyed bringing it to you, and I hope you found it informative and enjoyed learning about these offerings. Please take a look at these links if you'd like to learn more, and don't hesitate to drop us a note. Till then, take care and stay safe.